Hello, welcome back to Mountain Jim Card Collectibles. Well, we have another apology from Topps Fanatics because we all know that the F in Topps Fanatics stands for fuck up. And, Topps Fanatics, it's such a shit show. They really shouldn't have the licensing for anything at all, but, this is what happens when you have your kind of higher up celebrities tied in with, your big wigs with the sports leagues. And so what we get is a bunch of half-ass products, with big price tags on it. And it's all about funding, this billionaire class, that Michael Rubin loves, Roger Goodell, with the NFL, all these big assholes in the sports leagues that really don't care about anyone but themselves, And so this most recent apology, I just love it because, there's so many people in our collective hobby, that just love to bend the knee to Michael Rubin and Topps Fanatics. They'll kiss his ass from morning to night. A lot of them are, people on YouTube, these big YouTube influencers. We have the breaking companies all bending the knee to this guy. But I just think he's a joke, And the reason why I think he's a joke is because, for one, he never should have gotten the licenses. This is an individual that can't do anything correct. I mean, for the most part, he's a walking accident. He's like a train wreck, Michael Rubin. Anyway, like it says here, Fanatics forced to issue another apology after fan backlash. This time over Super Bowl LX merchandise. Yeah, and I've been reading about this stuff, and I'm not surprised. I mean, I used to collect, like jerseys, sports caps. I don't really do that much anymore, but I used to do that when I was a teenager. And so I can relate to all these people who like to collect jerseys, Super Bowl jerseys for the Seahawks. I'm a big Seahawks fan. I always have been, so I'm really excited. And of course, the New England Patriots, I'm not a New England Patriots fan, but I can understand why people want to collect their jerseys. But then they have to deal with, Michael Rubin being the scumbag of the century, and all the, sports leagues going in with him, because they're scumbags too. I mean, don't pretend they're not. They don't care about fans. All they care about is money, at the end of the day. So let's read what this article says, because, this really lays it out, that, in my opinion, Topps Fanatics really doesn't deserve licensing for anything, They just don't. They just can't seem to do anything correctly, other than screwing over the consumer, And so there's your favorite guy right there, Michael Boobin. And let's see, when did this article come out? This was just 23 hours ago, so this stuff is fresh. I mean, there is no shortage of fresh mistakes from, the Topps Fanatics shit show. Apparel brand Fanatics issued an apology this week over the lack of availability and poor quality of its Super Bowl LX gear after complaints from New England Patriots Seattle Seahawks fans. In a statement posted Monday night on social media, Fanatics wrote that we've let Patriots and Seahawks fans down with product availability. We own that, and we are sorry. Yeah. Do you really own it? Because there's just been so many apologies that are constantly coming from Topps Fanatics for, whether it's screwing up the sports cards, whether it's screwing up their jerseys, Like it says here, the NFL's official merchandising partner pointed to the surge in demand for Seahawks and Patriots gear after both teams missed the playoffs last year and admitted that the company was struggling to meet the overwhelming demand to keep team color jerseys in stock. But the issues that I'm getting isn't so much that. It's just really poor quality jerseys, Fanatics statement also tried to downplay the images circulating on social media. We've heard questions about the quality of these alternate jerseys and can assure you that despite some unflattering photos, these jerseys are identical to the standard Nike replica game jersey, the company said. But fans and members of the media keep showing proof that says otherwise, because everything that Michael Rubin and Topps Fanatics does is like a scam, a scheme, another grift, another way to, fleece the consumers, I really give that to Fanatics. What does the F in Fanatics stand for? Is it fucking over the consumer? Is it fleecing the consumer? I'm still torn on what that really means. But all we know is it's poison for the consumer at the end of the day. So that takes us to this. And this is some of the unflattering photos coming from social media, And I know that Michael Rubin is probably not a big fan of social media because all he does is, anymore when I get on X, it is just roast after roast after roast. Anyway, let me keep going on here. So all we can get from Topps Fanatics is more apologies, because they can't seem to figure anything out. So this is one that was just posted yesterday, February 4th, and people are just piling on this one, man. Oh, I just love it. Here we go. Rubin might be one of the greatest salesmen / con men of all time to convince the NFL to solely license all league apparel manufacturing to his company, which can barely print a t-shirt correctly. Yeah. They can't do anything. I mean, they just can't seem to do anything. Why are the Super Bowl patches in completely different spots on each jersey? $160 for this. Hashtag end Fanatics. Yeah. I mean, people who collect jerseys, people who collect sports clothes, they want Fanatics and Michael Rubin gone. People who collect sports cards, they want Michael Rubin gone. I mean, can't anyone get the message here? Get this man out of our lives. So let's take a close look at this. Boy, look at those patches, huh? I mean, they have a patch on, the red, white, bar up here, stripe, whatever you want to call it. And they can't even get the patch on the same way. I mean, why would they put the patch on the bar? And, this patch isn't on the bar, the little, stripe. It's really pathetic, and that's what the first thing I noticed when I look at this, but it's not just me. Just to let you know, guys. All right, what are people saying? Fanatics didn't con the NFL. They're in cahoots to con the fans together. Yes, everyone's seen this, especially the people who are buying their clothing at this point. I mean, probably more than the people who are buying their shitty cards, all right? Fanatics willingly takes on the role of punching bag. So the NFL gets to say, don't blame us. We don't make the jerseys, while laughing all the way to the bank. That's a core feature of their business arrangement, not a bug. Notice how the Fanatics website has no customer reviews. That's the giveaway. They are not accountable to the fans because they don't have to be. They have a monopoly. The real customer is not the fans who buy the jerseys, but the league that sells them the exclusive license. So direct your anger at Roger Goodell, not Fanatics. Without the exclusive license, Fanatics has nothing. With the license, they can rip off the fans to their heart's delight. It's right there in the name, Fanatics. It shows what Rubin and the NFL thinks of us. Crazed suckers who love their team to the point of paying $160 for a jersey with misaligned, screen-printed numbers. Yup. And there's been so many complaints about their jerseys, And he's right. I mean, so many of what I've seen is it's misaligned, low quality. And he's right. Blame Roger Goodell. I mean, it's really all these scumbags that run the sports leagues that have really created this mess for all of us, MLB players could barely wear their jerseys the first season because of the quality of materials. Sizing and letters and numbers look like an arts and crafts project at summer camp. Yeah, I mean, I remember those jerseys when they first came out. I mean, they just looked, I mean, beyond amateur, you know. I mean, they look like something from my, Little League back in what, 1985? I mean, give me a break, guys. Can't you guys do anything right? They gladly opt into these agreements. They get to create a monopoly through a proxy while offloading the blame of this monopoly to the third party. In return, they get very favorable licensing fees. When Fanatics goes under, they rinse and repeat with someone else, yeah. And really, I feel like we're all coming to the realization that, Topps Fanatics is really, a big scumbag corporation, But everyone's really realizing, who's basically the puppet master here. And it's the sports leagues. And it's the sports leagues who've allowed this monstrosity to occur. I mean, some of the shittiest jerseys I've ever seen in my life have come from Fanatics. I don't know how they pull it off, Their cards, I mean, they're charging, like thousands and thousands of dollars for sports cards, It's such a grift. It's such a, BS scam, but it never ends. And they have no shortage of people online on YouTube, who are helping them sell these, picks and shovels to, poor consumers like us who are just struggling to survive, They get away with anything because at NFL Commish hate their fans. Pure contempt for their base. Exactly. They really do. The NFL just looks at their fans as just another stepping stone for their billion-dollar lifestyle. He is best friends with Kraft since they are both, and the NFL listens to Kraft. It's not that complicated, yeah. I mean, there is no shortage of blame here for, the Fanatics monopoly. I mean, you can look at so many people who helped create this monopoly. You can look at Robert Kraft, he's a piece of trash, Anyway, I'll just keep going on here. If I had a nickel for every time a Fanatics t-shirt was delivered with a crooked graphic, I'd be as rich as Michael Rubin with a lot of terribly made t-shirts, That's what I mean, is it's like, sometimes, I'll be honest, my Little League shirts, are better quality than the stuff that Fanatics is showing out. I mean, it's just, so many people are scratching their heads. How did Topps Fanatics pull this off? I mean, everything they do is low quality. I went over their inserts yesterday, total crap, total garbage, Their big prices on their cards, that really are just overprinted to no end. Oversaturated, that people just keep gaslighting themselves out about that they're going to actually have value in cards, I think that everyone who's tied in with Fanatics and Topps has to gaslight themselves to an extent to, give themselves a pat on the back and say, oh, this is good stuff. Wow, that is a disgrace. The NFL should be embarrassed by this. And they should be, but they don't care about their fans. They don't, They're just as bad as Topps Fanatics. It's the NFL's fault to give this man a monopoly. This should go to the Supreme Court. He should have competition. Exactly. I just don't understand why we have to live in a monopolistic USA, It never used to be like this. We need anti-monopoly laws. I mean, clearly, because, let's face it, consumers are just getting torpedoed. And then this guy, order off eBay directly from China for better quality. And maybe that's just it. Maybe China does have better quality than what, Topps Fanatics is giving us. I don't know what to say. Why isn't quality important here? Why are they forgetting that quality is the most significant thing when it comes to a product? I'll tell you why. Because these sports leagues are just so greedy and selfish, I always wonder if they even consider their fans, There's so much of business that just uses customers and consumers, and a lot of times they get the government on their side to do it, to just, just stomp on people. I'm just getting exhausted, of all of it. The NFL merch game has gone completely downhill from the 2000s to now. Completely unacceptable, yeah. And that's because they're allowing, greed and selfishness to run the show. I just don't get it. At Michael Rubin, stop throwing white parties for Hollywood elites and start caring about your actual products. That's never going to happen. He's more about himself than anyone else, I can't respect Michael Rubin at all for what he is, and what he's done to, just collecting and the sports card hobby, and even, if you want to collect jerseys, that are licensed. I mean, it's just, you're going to be buying garbage here, I mean, Nike, someone should have the licensing over Topps Fanatics that produces high quality stuff. So anyway, I mean, we went over a lot of stuff. A lot of people are angry at Topps Fanatics for a lot of reasons. I mean, this endless parade of apologies that's always coming out from Topps Fanatics. I just feel like they really need to get their licensing pulled, Anyway, I hope you have a great day. I'd like to thank my subscribers. I'd like to thank my viewers. If you haven't subscribed as a viewer, please subscribe. Maybe like, share, all that good stuff, I know I don't say that enough. But anyway, I hope you have a great day. I'm out of here. Bye.